be showing all of you the Retron 5. Alright. The fifth slot in mention that we're going to add to this new system is the Famicom system. The reason for this is to allow all the retro enthusiasts all over the world to be able to play their favorite games. So what makes the Retron 5 unique from our previous systems? We have created an all-new chipset that makes region locks and compatibility no longer an issue. Now, you'll be able to play both your PAL and NTSC games all on one console. CIC lockout chip? No problem. FX chip? No problem. Basically, the Retron 5 will have 5 cartridge slots, which will allow you to play your original NES, SNES, Genesis, Famicom, and Game Boy Advance games. On top of all this, you'll also be able to play your Super Famicom, Mega Drive, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy cartridges as well.
Yeah.
You guys will also be able to use your original controllers for each system, and we'll have a total of 6 controller ports, 3 on each side. Users will also be able to use any controller they desire for any system. That means if you want to use an SNES controller to play your Genesis games, you'll be able to do that. On the front of the console, along with a power-up button to power up the console obviously, there is a sync button, which will allow users to sync up to 4 wireless controllers to one console. This means that if you have 4 wireless controllers, you'll be able to play multiplayer compatible titles without the use of a multi-tap. On the rear of the console, you'll see that there is a standard AV output, a USB port to allow for charging of the wireless controllers, an AC adapter to power up the system, and an HDMI output to allow for HDTV connectivity.
I want to see Game Boy Advance HD.
Here is our Bluetooth wireless controller. The controllers of the Retron 5 will not only support Bluetooth technology, but will allow for a playable distance of up to 15 feet without losing sync from the console. Instead of a traditional D-pad, the wireless controllers will now utilize a micro-switch directional pad. There will also be 6 face buttons, 2 shoulder buttons, a start, a select button, and 4 LED light indicators that will denote to each player what the user is. Also, there will be a home button, which will not only sync the controller to any Retron 5, but will also allow users to access the game user interface at any point during gameplay. Every controller will have a rechargeable lithium-ion battery that can be charged through any USB port via a micro USB cable. When you power on the Retron 5 for the first time, you will notice, like the Xbox and the PlayStation, that the users will be taken to a digital user interface. Now, what this means is that we've created a whole new system menu that allow users to select which systems they would like to play, as well as access features that we felt were very important to gamers. Most games, as you know, will not allow you to save your games at any time during gameplay. This is obvious because, back in the day, we used to play our favorite games, and then when our mom would call or we have some other chores to do, we would have to pause the game and leave the system on. And there is the potential for you to be able to lose your place in the game. Well, the Retron 5 will allow users to save their games at any point during gameplay. And it'll also feature an autosave feature upon shutdown, which will allow users to pick up at any time where they left off at any point. When we plug in our original consoles to our brand new HD TVs, the video image looks very fuzzy, distorted, and quite frankly, really butt ugly. To combat this issue, the Retron 5 will upconvert video signals to show clearer and cleaner images up to a resolution output of 720p. So you no longer have to resort to playing on your old standard definition televisions. Users will also be given the option to select the aspect ratio in our game user interface from a standard 4:3 to a HD ratio of 16 by 9. Our goal is to fill up as much of the screen as humanly possible. Sorry about that. We felt the need to make improvements on overall sound output. This is where the Retron 5 will utilize audio interpolation, a method of making digital sound better than it really is, resulting in a smoother, cleaner audio output. Here is a brief demonstration on how the Retron 5 will handle audio interpolation. I guess we didn't hook up the sound, so later on when you guys come to our presentation area, I'll be able to show you exactly how this sounds, because just trust me, it sounds really good.
It looks awesome.
Sorry?
Looks awesome.
Thank you. As you can see, as a sound wave enters the audio analog to digital converter, samples are taken at timed intervals. The portions in white are original samples that are taken from the cartridge. The pink portions of the sound wave is the audio interpolation actually working, adding new samples in between the original samples. As a result, the Retron 5 will produce a smoother, clearer audio output than that of the original systems. Users will also be able to program the controller to assign the buttons to their preference. In turn, the Retron 5 will allow you will save these custom layouts so that users will not have to constantly reconfigure their button configuration. This feature will also be available to people wanting to remap their buttons on all their original controllers as well. It is no secret that there are a lot of older games that have parts that are really slow and tedious. The Retron 5 will allow for manual and passive overclocking, giving the users the ability to speed up or slow up their games as they see fit. The option will be available on our game user interface, and users will have the ability to access this at any time during gameplay by utilizing the home button on the controller. Also, they'll also be able to utilize this by the macro buttons that are available on the controller as well. In conclusion, this is actually all the information that we have that we can share with you at this point. As you can see, we have a great amount of work ahead of us. However, we're even more determined to create a final product that will make the Retron 5 the definitive console in the retro market, rivaled by no other. We ask for your continued support and invite all of you to give us your suggestions or feedback via Facebook or Twitter. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and I will now open the floor to any questions that you may have. And if you have any more further technical questions, you can come visit us in room 171. We'll open it up at 1 o'clock later today, and we'll be happy to answer any questions or inquiries that you might have. Thank you. Sorry, I was a little nervous, but hopefully it came out pretty well. I'm going to actually invite one of my colleagues to help out with the question session, so if you guys have any questions, you can just raise your hand and I'm on.
No, they use phones. So yeah.
Retron 5, at this point, we don't have a price point at this moment, but I will say that it'll be under at least $100. You are not the first person to ask that question. We are currently looking into that at the moment, but at the same time, our company policy is such that we do not say anything or comment on anything until we have something definitive to say. But we will say, we have definitely looked into it for a long time.
What do you got for a release date?
We currently don't have a release date at the moment, and the reason why we want to do this is we want to give our developers ample time to make this a perfect system. There's a lot of things that we have to do to make sure that the system is up to par to our standards. And if we did give a release date and we missed it, then we have a lot of people who are disappointed. So in a later date, when we're in final production, at that point we will release a final release date.
Probably sometime after June.
Yes, we have it's actually an alpha model that we have. It's a working system where you'll be able to play Street Fighter Alpha 2. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
The question was regarding firmware updates. I won't tell you how the system will update. We haven't made that distinction yet. But we tell you, yes, there will be firmware updates. Although at the moment the USB port is only guaranteed to charge wireless control.
Have you thought about adding something for like TurboGrafx 16 and PC Engine games? You know, a slot for them?
That's a marketing decision for a high-level executive. It's on ourselves. The question was, will we ever get to support some of the other systems available in the market, the Amigas, the Ataris, and stuff like that? If the market grows to the point where we can, then we absolutely will. I guess that's a question for me. I have no idea what HT4X is, but as far as upscaling goes, we're going to put out the best possible picture that the CPU can provide. That's all I can say.
You can turn off this process. You can create
Okay, the question was regarding lag. As far as the technical side goes, I won't go into details, but I will say, as someone who plays video games myself, if you're playing any game that has any amount of lag, the controller, the system, the television, that's unacceptable. And Hyperkin for this effect. I did not define the problem.
Yeah, I don't play that user garbage. I have the user.
As it is right now, we understand there is a press rating, so they do run at different speeds. It would work immediately, although at this point we're looking at making an auto detector settings. And absolutely, yes, we want games to run at the right speed, and the right audio, all of that really matters to me. I'm afraid 32X